Digital transformation is an unavoidable journey. The scale and speed this is happening, it is scary but promising at the same time. Change is easy to spell but very, very hard to navigate. Today we are kicking off the 4th season of Tech Talk. In the first episode, we will discuss the importance of enterprise architecture and how a proper selection and implementation of software can help the digital transformation journey of businesses. Today we are very happy because Carla Santos is joining Tech Talk as a co-host. Carla joined PwC in the beginning of the year, right before Corona, and she's eager to take part of this project. Welcome, Carla.
Hi, Luis. I'm very excited to do the podcast with you. Here's a little bit about me. I come from the south of Portugal, and I have a background in communication sciences and journalism. I have worked in television production. I've also worked as a journalist, a web editor, and now I am the social media officer and a podcaster.
Thanks, Carla, for that nice and warm introduction. So, without further delay, let's kick off the episode. So, welcome to Frédéric Chapelle, who is a technology partner in PwC Luxembourg. And actually, he's working a lot in technology enablement for companies and implementing software to help companies transform digitally. And precisely today, our episode focuses on technology software and how it can help organizations move into this digital arena. So, welcome, Fred.
Hello, Luis.
How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And today we also have Carla, and Carla joined Tech Talk recently. And, well, we say hello to Paramita, who is somewhere else, but we always remember her.
Hello, Paramita. Yes.
Thanks, Carla, for joining Tech Talk. So, Fred,
thank you.
Let's jump in. So, I was checking our website on these matters, and I read a nice quote there saying technology is no longer a function of your business, it is your business. And it actually caught my attention. So if you could elaborate a little bit on this, that would be very nice to kick off the topic.
Yes, I think this sentence is perfectly true, because when you look today, any transformation in the business is always enabled by technology or digital transformation, according some would say some branding or naming. But if you look everywhere in any company, when you are transforming your business, it's always enabled by technology. And if you look at a bank or I would say financial services, they are running so many IT services, technologies, that they are, I would say, massively running even these technologies and IT. So all the transformation and all the business today is mainly supported by technology and digital transformation.
Mm-hmm. And even sometimes when we think of even a simple, let's say, restaurant or a very small family business, they also use technology, for more and more. So,
and I think that's even more important with the current situation with COVID as well.
Exactly. So, do you think COVID has actually accelerated this type of transformation?
Definitely, because I would say until 8 months ago, we were all working nearly at the office. And from one weekend to the other, we just moved to full home-based working. And we have to still work and to still, I would say, being able to deliver to client, to engage with client, to support the business, I would say the back office, the front office. And for some companies, I would say more agile and already ready to do it, it was quite smooth. For some others, that was much more difficult, and they struggled during weeks, I would say, to recover a kind of normal activities. So the fact of being ready to switch on really quickly on home-based working was a strong asset for many companies. And I see most resilient companies were probably the most ready to engage for home-based working, and I will say all the remote access for the key business, the front and the back office.
So what you said just lead me to the next question I have in mind, and it's about actually strategy, technology strategy, because you said some companies were ready, to tackle this challenge because they were prepared. I assume they had a strategy kind of implemented or ongoing, while the other ones took more time. So how, in general terms, how is a technology strategy built? Which are the main or the key steps a company should follow to get there?
I think that the IT strategy must be totally, I would say, embedded in the business strategy. Building an IT strategy to build an IT strategy is nonsense. When you start to build your IT strategy, your IT roadmap, it must be strategy led by the business. These need a clear articulation between the business purpose, the business mission statement, and the business vision with how the IT will serve this transformation and the business. And regarding this, from, I would say, in a top-down approach, for sure, you have immediately to think about business capabilities and IT capabilities, because today what we are always struggling is to build and develop capabilities, being able to have, I would say, the right, I would say, organization for the growth, internal, external growth, and more than ever, I would say, our ability to change and to manage our internal culture. It must be in normally all companies to develop in their own DNA the ability to change and to have really a kind of appetite to change. I think that if you want to improve, you need to change. If you want to be really perfect, you need to change often. Just quoted Churchill, but I think this is really important. If you want to move fast and be strong on your market, you need to be able to change very frequently. And if you look the market, the companies who were not able to change, and I will not say again, like BlackBerries and Nokia, they were quickly disrupted by the lack of ability to change.
That's really true. I recall what Koen Maries, our cybersecurity leader, and Patrice Witz, our technology leader, also say all the time. So they say digital transformation and cybersecurity have a lot to do with what people do, and how people learn and how people want to transform. So yeah, it's so in this case it's the same. Carla, you want to ask something? Carla is telling me I have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, I actually would like to know how enterprise architecture fits into the technology strategy, or I mean, how do they come together, and what's their connection? And if you can also explain a bit what is indeed our enterprise architecture for those like me who don't know the concept.
I would say that enterprise architecture, usually you have image of, I would say, very complex stuff like plumbing, wires everywhere, I would say kind of spaghetti. But I would say it's something, yeah, but I would say it's something much easier to understand. I think that today the enterprise architecture is the way that you approach, align your stakeholders, I would say, from business to technology, when you are integrating people, information, process, and technology all together, I would say, to enable the business to achieve its vision. So it's something that you need really to build all together, and it's business driven, and for sure IT has a strong role in this, but it's really business driven. And that's for me the key message, that technology first approach that doesn't align the business transformation will fail. It's impossible today. You need to be really close to the business to developing, I would say, a customer experience or a user experience purely in IT without considering the persona or the client. It's pure nonsense. So this is for me totally key, that when we are moving to develop new solution or implementing new software, they must serve a purpose. So the IT for IT will never survive.
So if I got this right, and Carla, please help me with this one. So
all right,
to implement technology properly, the company needs to have, then the architecture becomes, or the enterprise architecture becomes the skeleton. Is it what you meant?
I think that today we need to build, if you look, enterprise architecture must be capability driven. What do you want to achieve? And
Okay.
when you, and then what has to be achieved, you decide to, and you design the how you will achieve it, but you need to be always driven by the end user or by the client.
Okay.
I would say that what you are serving as a purpose is the best way to achieve it, and not like sometimes we have in the past when we collect requirement, we build solution a little bit with a tunnel effect, and when we are live, it's already over, the trade has passed, and you need to redo everything. So agility. And you need to be really fast today. You cannot wait a very long time to be on the market with your end user. So you need to be really fast and agile.
So I guess the key message here is as well that there needs to be flexibility to respond also to business changes and demands with time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's definitely clear. I would say I'm quoting a client that if your approach is not fast and simple, you won't succeed anymore in this, I would say, in the business. Because you need to change and to adapt your methodology, your approach, I would say, very frequently. And the clients, or they want short-term solution. When you start to tell them that the transformation journey is 5 and 10 years, they will not buy any more this, because probably in 5 or 10 years, the markets will have changed so drastically that what you designed 5 years earlier is already totally obsolete. Huh?
So to the fast and simple, I would add furious, like the movie. Fast, simple, and furious.
Yeah, but then Kuhn will be maybe not happy about the furious, or maybe Kuhn will like the furious, because when you are sometimes furious, the cyber security needs also to be there, because that's why it's also a need for enterprise architecture and strong technology, because don't let the door open to threat and to, I would say, people trying to hack your IT. Yeah? Because this is also why you need enterprise architecture, is to have, I would say, reliable architecture and reliable software.
Okay. So well, some of our listeners may be wondering. Okay, we say technology, but let's narrow down this thing and talk about more specific solutions. So, can you give us some examples of technological solutions that are essential for business nowadays? To grow in the, especially in the current context, but in general. So I guess you have in mind some. And I remember Carla, when we were preparing this, Carla was telling me, okay, so I want to know which these technological solutions are, and so yeah.
Again, I think that today more than ever, you need to be close of your client in B2B or B2C. So I would say that the way that you're engaging your client and you are close of them is really mandatory. And so this is why we can see a lot of improvement in client experience. So more and more client. If you look just the retail, until very recently, everybody was going to shop on the retail, whatever the ones that you try closest and things like that. With the COVID, you see a huge shift on e-commerce. And I still believe that the e-commerce will continue to grow. And so if you are not able to sell digitally and to have a strong e-commerce approach and platform, you can be quickly disrupted in the retail market, very clearly. And it's the case for, I would say, big retailers, smaller retailers. I think this market is also moving very fast. If you are not on e-commerce, you are very difficult to survive. So if you are not back to the e-commerce, all the platform and all the technology, I would say, sustainable to support this e-commerce growth, but you will struggle.
And among these technological solutions, cloud, I guess, ranks very high. Cloud solutions.
I would say that today cloud is a commodity. Maybe 5 years ago, cloud was something, I would say a little bit, I will not say fantasy, but was a little bit exotic. But today, I would say just cloud is a commodity. There are even some solutions that they're only existing anymore on cloud. I'm thinking about HR solution or CRM or CXM. They're only available on the cloud. So I think that it's already very late if you didn't move to cloud. Huh? It's high time to move. Huh?
Absolutely. And you mentioned CRM. I wonder, do you think a small company, I am thinking of small companies, do they need a CRM in your opinion, or it's a thing of big organizations?
I would say that any organization for me needs a CRM. You need to know your client. You need to better know the expectation. You need to know how to engage them. And I think the best way to engage them is using a CRM. And in that context, size really doesn't matter. The most important is to be able to really engage your client and to best know them. And a pure example that a few years ago, no banks were running CRM because they have a portfolio, I would say, of clients and things like that. But today, and not only on private banking, I would say retailer bank, even in Luxembourg, they are also moving to CRM because they want to better know the client, to better engage and to better serve them.
Absolutely.
That takes me to the next question, actually. What are the main concerns that companies have when developing their technology? You mentioned before that sometimes there is some resistance when, it might take 5 to 10 years to implement the transformation. So what are usually the main concerns, and how to address or mitigate them?
I would say that usually the most difficult is usually around the people, the ability to change, reluctance to transformation. So usually this is about the people. Of course, regarding the size of the project, it could be also a cash problem, but usually it's more about people. People are usually quite reluctant to change because they say it's an additional tool or we don't need this. We were always running without, so why using this kind of tool? So I would say usually it's the people, but that's a little bit rare because if you look just Darwin, the Darwin theory say that the species who survive is not the strongest, but the most adaptable. But usually for human beings, it's the same. If you want to, in terms of company, if you want to be strong, you need to be to some extent the most adaptable. And this needs for sure to transform and to change. And we don't naturally to change. That's obvious.
I have to confess something to you all. So in my mind, I may be entirely wrong, but normally bankers and insurers, of course with very good exceptions, tend to be traditional. And so this digital transformation, when you mention it's mainly about people, I am thinking of the boards, and the buy-in. So they I guess for a successful digital transformation, or at least for this to go faster, the board or somewhere there, someone in the board needs to be convinced about this, and how what's the role they play in for this technology enablement, transformation strategy, etc.
I think that usually they are, I would say, the source of it because they can see competition, they can see maybe sometimes their market share moving, and I think the best way for them to engage, it's going to experience center to see what's happening in the competition, what the others are doing, how they can get market share, and also they need to think, as we are all doing, really about business experience and technology. Because for them, as for any company, today the expectation of employees and clients is not only about, I would say, running the business, but it's also about the experience and the technology, I would say, enabling this experience and the business. So for me, and more than ever, when we are looking to executive and CEOs today, what it's really important for them, and for sure before starting this big transformation, is to be able to have a clear idea about the end-to-end experience and the end-to-end, I would say, even digital experience today for the users or for the clients.
I see you have mentioned several times experience, and that's really interesting. How the world has moved, and come to this realm, this situation, reality now, where really the experience matters almost the most. So, Carla will ask a very hot question after mine, but basically, but it's about brands but all this the technology thing takes me to thinking of the big five, or what they call big tech. And my question is, do you think technology software it's now a game of the biggest companies in the world, the biggest software doers in the world? Or there is still space for smaller ones? Because I see, what happens is the big are becoming bigger, and they are not leaving a space for the other ones. This is what I see. Maybe I'm wrong. That's why I'm asking you.
I think that's a tough question too, Luis.
It is a tough
a
question,
big question.
But I read all the time how Amazon gets bigger and Microsoft get bigger, and you say in the others.
Yeah, I would say these five one are getting bigger, and if you look the COVID, thanks to COVID, they are even bigger than before.
Bigger, yeah.
Because I would say that they have for some of them a kind of agility, and they are global. So today, the client, and I would say you as myself, we are also using as private person a lot of these companies. We are also using them as I would say professional services. So that we want global solutions. The companies want global solution, because also regarding risk management, we feel more secure to put our, I would say, data in a global certified cloud solution than in a garage. Again, regarding cyber security or a lot of stuff, it's also about security. So for me, what is very important for these five, that they build trust. The clients or the users, they are giving them, I would say, by trust, their data, and a lot of personal data. And for sure, when you put your pictures or in your Apple and things like that, you are expecting that they are safe. And that there will be not a leakage with all your pictures going everywhere in the world. So for me, it's about trust, and they build this trust since very long. And today, this trust is very well valued in market share, and they got so big that for sure it's very difficult for any competition to come. This is what we can see with, I would say, Western or European eyes, because if you look to China, they are pretty small. The Chinese, they have their all equivalent, and with a size, I would say, not close to these big four, but quite similar. So if the market is able to open also to this Chinese technology, and then we are starting with much more political discussion than economic at one, there could be other players. And we still have in Europe some players. If we look in software, we have SAP, but I think this is maybe the only one with a strong European player. Europe also has an opportunity to develop, but didn't. And unfortunately, this is a pity, because the problem of the Europe is fragmented politically and sometimes economically, where US is much stronger. So
that's a very good one. So Carla, go with the hot question.
That's a very good point indeed.
Yes.
Okay, so here goes the hot question. So according to Luis, I don't know if you have the figures, Luis, but you have mentioned that Microsoft is catching up with Amazon in terms of leading enterprise cloud services. So we would like to have your thoughts about this.
Carla, you made me laugh. According to Luis, no. It's
yes.
According to statistics, but it's something I'm reading more and more.
You told me, so you should have brought those statistics.
But for me, the portfolio of, I would say, Azure and Amazon is a little bit different, because I would say the weakness and strength of also are quite different. But if you look to cloud capacities, that for sure that Microsoft is massively investing to catch up, and we can see the US very big competition to get the US market and the US Navy appear, and it was finally Donald Trump who decided himself. So it's very critical today to career market, and I would say that Microsoft is doing really its best to catch up with Amazon. For me, what is good that competition. Unfortunately, there are only two players. I would prefer that we have 3 or 4, because when we are as a firm to select companies for some software, and we have only the choice on Azure and Amazon, is still very limited. So what I would expect is to have a third player, but for sure, I think that when we look today, Microsoft, they really try to catch up, but they have a different portfolio. If you look companies moving to Azure, you have a lot of, I would say, integrated solution like a CRM, SharePoint, Team. So Amazon is not. So I would say that they are competing, I would say, in not such a large area.
But that's interesting what you said. So some move to Azure because they offer other services apart from cloud.
Clearly. When you look the Microsoft solution, Microsoft has business solution, I would say like SAP, you have ERP, CRM, and all the Office 365 suite. Where you look to AWS, they are really providing you usually just capacities and of cloud storage, but all the services are provided by Azure and Microsoft on top of this, typically SharePoint, Team are not provided.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your angle, and who you want to compare, and what do you want to compare?
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's a very, very good point. I was just checking out now. So AWS, Amazon Web Services, is 31% cloud or market share, and then Azure is 20%. Google a little bit, 5-6%. But I think they are catching up. It's interesting to see what will happen.
Yeah, but you are always only, I would say, have a view on the capacities, and I would say the cloud storage, the pure cloud storage. When some market, if you look today, SAP has SAP on Azure, and you have SAP on AWS, and currently, I would say more clients are going on SAP on Azure, because they have other Microsoft, I will say, suite solution, like Teams and the CRM, and they are easily or better integrated when, I will say, AWS is currently, but again, it's moving, offering, I would say, cloud storage. But in terms of cost, for the moment, it's obvious, and I think that in large majority of cases, AWS is cheaper. But you really need to develop your own business case before choosing, because if you just look to the storage, for price, it's usually AWS the cheapest.
Yeah, excellent advice. Excellent. What you just mentioned is very good. Is see your strategy first and see what you want to do and how you want to integrate the thing and what you need before choosing just because of.
Yeah, price isn't everything.
Yeah, price isn't everything. I think we have already stolen 25 minutes of your time, Fred.
Yes.
Just to conclude, I think I have realized you love quotes. You love quotes from famous people. So maybe you have one final quote you want to share with the audience. Or a final idea you want to share when it related to our matter today.
I would say that whatever the transformation you want to engage, first think about people, and second, always have in mind the final end user or the client.
Perfect. So, Carla, do you have any other question to address, or you are convinced, or you understood everything?
I'm not sure I understood everything, but for sure I have improved my knowledge about technology strategy and digital transformation. So thank you very much, Frédéric.
Thank you, Fred. And by the way, Fred is kicking off today a series of of podcasts on technology software that we will be running in the coming weeks as part of the fourth season of Tech Talk. So stay tuned, and thanks a lot for listening to us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thank
see you for the next one. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was it for today. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and see you in the next episode of Tech Talk. Have a good day.